So let's jump right into the very first topic here. Very first topic is housing and the next recession. So we all know what happened in 2008 with the big financial crash. And so there's talk about another recession coming up in 2020. So Brian, I'm going to let you kick it off first. What's your opinion? Are we going to see a 2020 recession?
Personally, I do believe we are kind of heading in that direction just because if you follow the cyclical trends of real estate for several years, it's not seasonal. A lot of times people will make the mistake that, oh, things slow down during winter and speed up during summer, but it's actually very cyclical. California real estate in particular goes in these 5, 6, 7-year cycles where they start out from the bottom and start climbing back up. So if you look back from that, the last time we came out of a recession, which was right around 2012, and we were in a 4-year major recession, they call it the Great Recession, starting right around 2007 to 2008, when the FDIC shut down upwards of 3,500 banks, 2,000 of which they shut down, and I think in starting in the year 2007.
There was one day where like 200 got shut down in one day.
Yeah, they just went through all these issues, and that started off the tightening of credit, and then of course making it more difficult to buy a home, and then prices drop, and then primarily a lot of foreclosures, which in turn created a huge supply in the market. And
so the question though is, are we going to see this recession happen again in 2020?
I don't believe that it will be that big. And again, I'm just kind of speaking from experience. Those types of recessions happen every 20 years, right? But if you follow when we come out of a recession, so, we were in that recessionary period from 2007 to 2012, and then you start going 5, 6, 7 years from 2012 from the real estate values kind of hitting the bottom after they had hit the top in 2007, then you find ourselves in 2018. And right about May of 2018, I personally started to see a reduction in the prices that people were offering, despite the fact that properties were still receiving multiple offers.
Well, the one thing to keep in mind is that last year, 2018, is the very first time that the housing market has ever decoupled from the actual economy.
Yes. And so what Marc's bringing up there is that typically when recessions occur, it's because you have massive job layoffs. And so, of course, people have less money to buy a house, and then there's more inventory. But last year, the Bay Area job market, the U.S. job market was still very, very good, with the Bay Area job market being as low as 3% in many areas. And what that means is that employers are chasing employees. It was to the extent where we were importing plumbers, electricians, other tradespeople out of state, paying them double or triple, which we kind of talked about in prior episodes, just to feed the economy. But even though people were prosperous and doing well with jobs, they just weren't making those above asking price offers. We won't really know the reason why until after you've kind of come out of the recession. But it's one of those things where empirically you can't exactly know the real reason just yet. But right about that time, something always tends to slow the market down. Although I think this one will probably be an 18-month to 24-month recession, and then you'll start to see it climb back up again.
One of the things that I'm very interested in watching is the unemployment rate. Unemployment rate is super, super low. However, you have to dive into it a little bit more, because if one person has one job, that creates stability, that creates security. However, if someone has 2 or 3 jobs to make up full-time pay, that's not the same as one job, right? And so I think what's going to be very interesting to see is when the next recession hits, how many part-time jobs are going to be lost, and how many people that are working multiple jobs are going to lose all of their jobs. We might see a big spike in unemployment when that actually happens. Now, on the flip side, the one thing that is also very interesting to track is the number of baby boomers that are going to be retiring. And I think it's estimated between Canada and the US, 11,000 baby boomers will be retiring every single day for the next 4 years.
Oh, that's quite an amazing figure.
Right? And so what could potentially happen, and this is going to be very interesting to see, is a labor shortage when it comes to the workforce. So workforce labor shortage. So if that happens, it may not be as bad. I mean, right now we're hearing news of people laying off. PepsiCo just announced that they're going to spend $1.75 billion in the next 4 years in severance packages because they're going to be laying people off to focus on automation.
Wow, that's interesting. Well, I mean, that segues into multiple other things. The fact that the recessions and the job market, or even the real estate market and values, are not tied to one single factor. There's so many various factors hitting us at various times now. And each time we go into a recession, it's always very different. I mean, but the first time I experienced a recession, a big one, like in 2008, was from 1991 to about 1995, 1996, when there was massive job layoffs, primarily in the aerospace industries and things like that. But those people were eventually repositioned into the tech jobs that we now see today.
Yeah.
Which again, that's another story for another time. But again, that's just my personal prediction. It won't be as large as the one we all came out of. And one thing you got to always remember about California real estate is that when it hits these peaks and it begins to come back down, it never goes back down to the very beginning where it started at. Case in point, you don't see houses for $40,000 anymore. But even though that same house might be worth $700,000 now and have dropped previously from a price of $750,000, it originally started at a price point way back in the late '70s for $40,000.
Okay, so real quick, Sam, we're gonna get another timer for the end of the timer for Brian here.
Sorry.